Lindiao had thought she understood him. She had seen the kindness in his gestures, the tenderness in his eyes, the way he held her hand as if she were fragile glass. But tonight, Sol revealed another side of Jinwoo, one that made her stomach knot and her pulse quicken. It began with a knock on her door. Sharp, urgent, unlike the gentle visits before. She froze, clutching the silver moon bracelet on her wrist. Her phone lay on the bed, buzzing insistently. A text from him, "Don't open the door. Trust me." Her heart raced. Who could it be? Before she could think, a shadow passed by the peephole. Lindiao's breath caught. She recognized the figure. A man with a hard face, cold eyes, dressed in black. One of Jinwoo's men, she guessed, though she had no proof. Her pulse thundering. She stepped back, peering through the peephole. The man was scanning the apartment from outside, moving as if expecting someone. Lindiao's fingers trembled as she dialed Jinwoo's number. "Answer," she whispered. Seconds passed, but finally he picked up. "I see them." His low voice rumbled in her ear. "Stay calm. Don't make a sound. Lock the door. I'm on my way." What is happening?" she asked, panic lacing her voice. "You'll see soon enough," he said, voice steady but sharp. "Trust me." Minutes felt like hours. The man outside banged lightly on the door, but Lindiao ignored it. She could hear distant voices, soft but menacing, like shadows creeping along the walls. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide, but she stayed frozen, clutching the bracelet he had given her. Then, the sound of a car engine roared outside. Tires squealed. Lindiao's heart leapt. The door burst open before she could react. And there he was, Jinwoo, towering, tattoos visible beneath the rolled-up sleeves of his suit, eyes sharp as knives. "Move," he said quietly, and she obeyed, stepping back instinctively. The intruder froze. Jinwoo's presence was like a storm contained in a man's body, quiet yet deadly. "You shouldn't have come here," Jinwoo said, voice low, almost a growl. "I warned you." The man sneered. "You can't hide her forever, Jinwoo. She's already part of this now." Lindiao's chest tightened. Part of what? She had no idea. But the fear in Jinwoo's eyes, a protective, burning anger, made her realize how serious this world was. Within minutes, they were outside, running toward Jinwoo's black Porsche. Lindiao's hands were clammy, her breath short and shallow. "You'll be safe with me," he said, eyes scanning every shadow. "I won't let anyone touch you." She clung to him as he drove through the streets, tires screeching slightly in tight corners. The city lights blurred past, but she couldn't take her eyes off him. The calm yet dangerous aura he carried made her pulse race. He was the same man who had held her hand gently at the tower, the same man who had given her the bracelet, and yet tonight, he was a predator in his own world, and she was trapped inside it. They arrived at a secluded estate, one she had never seen before. Guards moved with precision, nodding to Jinwoo as he drove in. "This is your world?" she whispered, heart pounding. He nodded, voice quiet. "One side of it. The one I've tried to keep from you until now. But tonight, you see it because I can't hide anything from someone I care about." Lindiao's stomach churned. She had known there was danger in him, a shadow she didn't yet understand. But being inside it, seeing the guards, the cars, the unspoken authority he commanded, it was intoxicating and terrifying. Inside, Jinwoo's men had captured the intruder. He didn't harm him immediately, but his presence alone made the man cower. Lindiao's fear was palpable, yet Jinwoo never looked away from her. "You see now," he said quietly, brushing a strand of hair from her face, "why I cannot allow anyone to hurt you. This is my world, and in it, I control everything, except perhaps my heart." Her throat went dry. "Your heart?" she whispered. He smiled faintly, the dangerous edge never leaving his voice. "You have it." That night, after the intruder was taken away, Jinwoo sat beside Lindiao in a quiet room. The adrenaline was still surging through her, but she felt the warmth of his presence like a shield. "You're safe now," he murmured, hand brushing hers. "I won't let anyone touch you again." Lindiao's chest tightened. She wanted to tell him how she felt, to reach out and cling to him forever, but fear and awe kept her silent. Instead, she whispered, I trust you. He leaned closer, so close that she could feel his breath on her cheek. Good, he said softly, because you'll need to trust me even more in the days to come. Her pulse raced. Why? Because my world is not kind. It is dangerous, unforgiving. And yet, I want you in it. Her stomach nodded. Every instinct screamed that she should run. And yet, every heartbeat pulled her closer to him. For the first time, Lindiao saw both sides of Jinwoo. The gentle, protective man who had made her feel seen and cherished, and the ruthless, commanding force who could bend the world to his will. And she realized, with a mix of fear and exhilaration, that she was falling deeper than ever before. Not just for the man she had sent a mistaken text to, but for the enigma, the storm, the danger, and the tenderness all wrapped into one, Jinwoo. She didn't know if she could survive his world, but she knew she didn't want to leave it. Lindiao couldn't sleep. The events of the past few days replayed in her mind like a movie she couldn't pause. Jinwoo, the mysterious, dangerous, intoxicating man, had become the center of her world, even though she barely understood him. The Porsche, the estate, the moonlit dance at Seoul Tower, the danger outside her apartment. All of it tangled together, making her heart pound in ways she couldn't control. And tonight, something told her, uneasily, that nothing would ever be the same again. Her phone buzzed softly. She picked it up, fingers trembling. I'm coming for you tonight. Be ready. No explanation, no location, just 3 simple words. Her chest tightened, fear mixed with anticipation. She had no idea what he meant, or where he was taking her, but a deep, unignorable pull drew her forward. By 9 p.m., she stood at the agreed spot, a quiet street near the river, the city lights reflecting off the water like shards of glass. Jinwoo arrived in silence, the Porsche pulling up smoothly. He stepped out, tattoos gleaming faintly under the streetlights, the aura of danger and command radiating from him like heat. You're ready, he said softly, almost like an observation rather than a question. She swallowed hard. I think so. He nodded and opened the car door for her, his eyes lingering on her face in a way that made her heart thump uncontrollably. Tonight, he said quietly, we'll change everything. The drive was silent, tense, and electric. Lindiao could feel the pulse of the city beneath them, the hum of the car, and the weight of Jinwoo beside her. Finally, they arrived at a private helipad atop a skyscraper. A sleek black helicopter waited, its blades slicing through the air with a soft whirring sound. You were flying? Lindiao asked, awe and fear warring in her chest. Jinwoo's dark eyes softened for just a moment. I want you to see the city from my world, he said. From above. No interruptions. No danger. At least for a little while. Her stomach twisted. Flying with a man she barely knew. A man whose world was filled with shadows and danger. It was terrifying. And yet, the thrill pulsed through her veins like fire. As the helicopter lifted off, the city unfurled below them. Lights, rivers, towers, streets twisting into the night like veins of gold. Jinwoo stood close, his presence a tether, his hand brushing hers once, accidentally, deliberately. She couldn't tell. Her pulse raced. You're scared, he murmured, leaning close enough that she could feel the warmth of his breath. I shouldn't be here, she admitted, voice shaking. Exactly, he said softly. And yet you are. That's what I like about you. Her cheeks flushed, heart hammering. Every word, every glance, every small brush of his hand made her feel dizzy, alive, and dangerously close to surrender. Minutes passed like hours. He guided her to the edge of the helicopter cabin, letting her lean slightly against him. Look at it, he whispered. Everything you've ever dreamed of. And more. Seoul is beautiful from up here. Dangerous. Alive. Unstoppable. Her breath caught. She had never felt so small and so alive at the same time. The city stretched endlessly beneath them, but all she could see was him. His dark eyes, the tattoos curling beneath his sleeves, the calm command in his every movement. "You're different," she whispered, "from anyone I've ever known." He smiled faintly. "And you're unlike anyone I've ever let close." The helicopter tilted gently as the wind whipped through the open cabin. Lindiao held onto him instinctively. Her heart raced, but not just from the height or danger. It was the pull of a man who was equal parts storm and safety. Then suddenly his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, eyes narrowing. Lindiao noticed the tension snap through him like electricity. "We're not done tonight," he muttered, voice low, dangerous. What is it?" she asked, fear rising. "Business," he said softly, almost a growl. "Something I need to take care of. Something that could affect us both." Her stomach twisted. "Me? Us?" He turned to her, eyes softer now. "Stay here. Trust me. I'll be back." Before she could protest, he was gone, stepping out of the helicopter as it hovered just above a hidden rooftop. Lindiao's heart pounded in terror and anticipation. Minutes stretched into what felt like an eternity. Then the sound of footsteps behind her. Jinwoo returned, moving quickly, efficiently, his presence filling the small space. In his hand, a small envelope. He handed it to her, voice steady but low. "This is for you. Open it when you're alone." Her fingers shook as she took it, heart racing. She waited until she returned to her apartment, closed the door, and carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a single photograph, a childhood picture of a young boy smiling shyly, handwritten on the back. "I lost my mother. I don't want you to lose yourself." Lindiao's breath caught. She knew then. She wasn't just falling for a man. She was stepping into a world where love and danger were inseparable. That night, lying in her bed, Lindiao traced the outline of the photograph and thought of Jinwoo, the man who had come into her life by accident, the man who had read her heart in a text meant for someone else, the man who was beautiful, dangerous, commanding, and gentle, all at once. Her chest ached with longing, fear, and desire. She knew she was falling deeper, faster, and with no safety net, and she knew, in her heart, that nothing would ever be the same again, because tomorrow the world he ruled, the shadows he carried, and the love he offered would all collide. And Lindiao would have to decide whether to run or to leap. The first light of dawn filtered softly through the curtains of Lindiao's apartment, spilling across her face like gold. She blinked awake, the events of the past few nights rushing through her mind. Her heart was still racing from the helicopter ride, from the rooftop near the Han River, from the sheer, intoxicating presence of Jinwoo. Her small apartment suddenly felt both familiar and strange. Familiar because it was her space, yet strange because she had changed. Something within her had shifted. The quiet fear that had settled into her chest for months now battled with an unfamiliar warmth, a fluttering excitement she couldn't name. She sat up slowly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The bracelet he had given her glinted softly in the morning sun. A tiny silver moon on her wrist, a delicate reminder that someone saw her, truly saw her, in a way no one else ever had. A soft vibration made her jump. Her phone buzzed on the bedside table. "Good morning, Lindiao. Breakfast is on its way. Be ready by 10. Her breath caught. Jinwoo, breakfast. Already her pulse quickened. She had no idea how he knew her apartment layout so well, yet a part of her, the part that had begun trusting him, felt comforted by it. By 10 a.m., there was a soft knock at the door. Lindiao opened it to find a small tray with a neatly wrapped breakfast. Croissants, fresh fruit, and a steaming cup of coffee. A single note rested atop it, written in Jinwoo's handwriting. "For the woman who woke my world. Eat, enjoy, and remember. I'll be waiting." Her lips curved into a shy smile. She traced the words with her finger, heart fluttering. Only Jinwoo could make something so simple feel like magic. As she ate, she couldn't help but think about him. The way he had held her hand on the rooftop, the gentle, commanding presence he carried, and the way he made her feel safe and desired simultaneously. The soft chime of her doorbell made her jump again. But this time, it was him. Jinwoo stood there, dressed in a crisp white shirt and tailored pants, the sunlight catching the sharp lines of his jaw and the tattoos curling along his neck. He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that could make heart skip beats and leave a trace of warmth in its wake. "You're early?" Lindio said, trying to sound composed but failing miserably. "I prefer to be," he replied, voice low, teasing. "Time moves differently when you're around." Her cheeks heated. "And I suppose I should say, good morning?" He took a step closer, holding her gaze. "Good morning, Lindio. May I come in?" She nodded, heart hammering, and stepped aside. As he entered, a strange calm settled over her, a combination of awe, comfort, and excitement she hadn't felt in years. They sat together, coffee in hand. Jinwoo didn't rush, didn't overwhelm. He simply observed her with those dark, unreadable eyes, as if memorizing every detail. "You're quiet this morning," he said softly. "Thinking about something?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "Just life, I guess. How unpredictable it can be." He nodded slowly. "Life is unpredictable, yes. But some moments, some people, make it feel like everything is exactly where it's supposed to be." Her heart skipped. His words were soft, gentle, but carried weight. An unspoken promise, a pull she couldn't resist. Later, he guided her to the rooftop of her apartment building. The city stretched below them, lights shimmering in the morning haze. Jinwoo leaned against the railing, offering her a small smile. "I wanted you to see this," he said. "A quiet moment. Just the two of us. No chaos. No danger." Lindio's eyes swept across the skyline, taking in the soft morning glow. She turned to him, noticing the subtle softness in his gaze, the way the light kissed his skin. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "So are you," he said quietly, and her breath caught. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The touch was gentle, electric, intimate. Her heart thudded painfully against her ribcage. She wanted to speak, to ask him questions about his world, his past, his life, but words failed her. Instead, she let him guide her hand into his. A small gesture, but one that made her pulse race. His fingers were warm, strong, and confident, yet careful, protective. "You're shaking," he observed, eyes searching hers. I'm just nervous," she admitted. "Being this close to you, it's new." "Good," he murmured. "New is exciting. New keeps us alive. And you, Lindio, deserve to feel alive every day." Her chest tightened. She didn't know how to respond. She only knew that she wanted to stay in this moment forever, feeling the warmth of him, the safety he radiated, and the thrill of the unknown that clung to him like a shadow. Hours passed like minutes. They walked through quiet streets, sharing laughter, small confessions, and subtle touches. Jinwoo didn't rush her. He didn't overwhelm her. He simply allowed the space for intimacy to grow, for trust to deepen, for hearts to draw closer. At a small park bench, he pulled out a tiny velvet box. Her eyes widened, heart leaping. "For you," he said softly. "A reminder of tonight, of us, and the moments no one else will ever know." Inside was a delicate silver necklace, with a tiny star that seemed to shimmer even in the dim light. She ran her fingers over it, eyes wide. Jinwoo," she started, voice trembling. He smiled faintly. "No need for words. Just promise me you'll wear it." Tears pricked at her eyes. I will." He took her hand again, pressing a soft kiss to the back of her palm. Her breath caught, and for the first time, she allowed herself to surrender fully to the feeling. The pull of desire, the warmth of safety, the thrill of falling for him. Later, as they walked back to her apartment, the city lights glittering around them, Jinwoo glanced at her, a rare vulnerability in his eyes. "You know," he murmured, "I don't usually do this, let someone in this far. But with you, I can't seem to stop." Her heart thudded painfully. I feel the same way," she whispered. He didn't respond with words. Instead, he brushed her cheek with his thumb, pulling her close just enough that she could feel his breath, his heartbeat, and the electric tension between them. The moment was fleeting, tender, and unforgettable. That night, Lindio lay awake, the necklace glinting on her chest. Her mind replayed every touch, Every word, every glance. She realized something terrifying and exhilarating. She was falling, not just for Jin Woo, but for the storm, the danger, the mystery, and the man who had become the center of her world. And deep down, she knew one undeniable truth. Her life had changed forever. The sun had set hours ago, leaving Seoul wrapped in a quiet, glowing blanket of city lights. Lin Dio stood by her apartment window, staring at the horizon, feeling an unusual mix of anticipation and nervousness. Her phone buzzed softly, and she jumped slightly. A message from Jin Woo. Meet me at the rooftop garden. 9 p.m. Just you. Her pulse raced. The rooftop garden was a quiet, secluded spot in the city, one he had taken her to before. But tonight, she had no idea what to expect. By 9 p.m., Lin Dio arrived, her heart thumping. The cool night air brushed against her skin, and the faint scent of flowers from the rooftop garden mingled with the distant city smells. Food, smoke, the river. Jin Woo was there, waiting, leaning casually against the wrought iron railing. His dark suit hugged his form perfectly, and the tattoos along his neck peeked through subtly. He looked at her, and that small, teasing smile tugged at her heart again. "You're late," he said softly, though his eyes sparkled with amusement. "Excuse me," she said, pretending to scold him, though her voice shook slightly. "I couldn't help it. The city is distracting." He stepped closer, the distance shrinking, his gaze intense yet gentle. "Distraction can be dangerous," he said, voice low. "But some distractions are worth the risk." Her stomach twisted. She knew he was speaking metaphorically, but every word sent a thrill through her. The garden was beautiful under the soft glow of fairy lights. Lin Dio's eyes wandered over the flowers, the small fountain in the center, and the city skyline in the distance. But all she could focus on was him. The way he moved, the way his eyes lingered on her, the subtle warmth in his expression. He handed her a small glass of wine. "To new moments," he said quietly, "and to discovering the unknown." Lin Dio took it, holding the glass with both hands. "And to trust," she whispered. His eyes softened. "And to trust," he agreed. They sat on a small bench, feet brushing occasionally. Conversation flowed naturally. Laughter, soft confessions, playful teasing. Jin Woo asked about her childhood, her dreams, and the small joys in her life. He listened intently, nodding, occasionally touching her hand lightly. Lin Dio felt herself relaxing, the tension of the past weeks melting away in his presence. He made her feel seen, important, cherished. She laughed more freely than she had in months. "You have a beautiful laugh," he said softly, brushing her hand with his fingers. "I could listen to it forever." Her cheeks flushed. "You really are full of compliments," she teased, though her heart fluttered uncontrollably. "I only speak what's true," he murmured. "And you are extraordinary." Hours passed, and the rooftop garden seemed to shrink until it was just the two of them. The city lights below flickered like fireflies, and the quiet hum of Seoul surrounded them. Lin Dio leaned against him for a moment, comforted by his presence. "It's peaceful here," she said softly. "Peaceful, but fleeting," he replied, voice low. "Just like life. That's why moments like these matter." Her heart tightened. She didn't want the night to end. She wanted to stay in this bubble of warmth and trust forever. But she also feared what might come next. The world he lived in, the danger she had glimpsed before. He reached out, tucking a strand of her hair behind her ear. The touch was electric, tender, and intimate. Lin Dio felt her pulse quicken. "Do you ever wonder why you're here?" she asked softly, eyes searching his. "Every day," he admitted. "I don't usually let anyone this close. But with you, it feels different. Safe, honest. Even in the chaos around me, you're steady." She swallowed hard. "I feel the same, but sometimes I worry I can't handle your world, that I'll break if I get too close." He smiled faintly, brushing his thumb against her cheek. "You won't break," he said quietly. "I'll be careful, and I promise, you'll never face it alone." Her chest tightened, and for a long moment, Neither spoke. Only the city, the flowers, the soft wind, and the quiet rhythm of their hearts filled the night. Then he stood slowly, extending his hand. "Dance with me." Lindayo blinked. "Dance?" "Yes," he said simply. "No music, no audience, just us. Just the rhythm of our hearts." She hesitated, then took his hand. He guided her gently across the rooftop, her steps faltering at first, then more confident. His hand on her back, her hand in his, they moved together, a perfect harmony in the quiet night. The warmth of him, the closeness, the electricity of shared glances. It was intoxicating. She had never felt such a pull before, not even with the men she had trusted or loved in the past. The dance ended, but neither moved away. He leaned closer, forehead resting against hers. Her breath caught. "You're amazing, Lindayo," he whispered, voice soft, almost vulnerable. "And I can't help wanting to know every part of you." She shivered. "Jean Wu." Words failed her. Her heart ached with longing, desire, and the thrill of being seen so completely. He smiled faintly, brushing his lips against her temple. "Shu, no words, just us." For a long moment, they simply stood together, hearts beating in sync, surrounded by the quiet hum of the city. As the night deepened, he led her to a small corner of the garden, a hidden spot under a canopy of flowers. "I want to show you something," he said softly. She looked around, eyes wide. "What is it?" "Look up," he murmured. Above them, the night sky stretched endlessly, stars twinkling like diamonds. The city lights blended with the cosmos, creating a dreamlike view. "It's beautiful," she whispered, overwhelmed by the beauty and the intimacy of the moment. "And so are you," he said, voice low, sending a shiver down her spine. "Lindayo, you're more than I expected, more than I imagined. And I want you to know that. Every part of you." Her chest tightened, her heart raced. She wanted to reach for him, to close the distance, to surrender to the feelings building inside her. And yet, fear lingered. A small, stubborn whisper reminding her of his world, the danger she glimpsed before. He sensed it. "I won't rush you," he murmured, hand brushing hers. "I'll wait. I'll protect you. I'll cherish you. But I can't hide this, how I feel." Her throat went dry. I feel the same," she admitted softly. He smiled, a rare softness in his eyes, and leaned close, brushing her lips lightly with his in a tender, electric kiss. It was a promise, a whisper of desire, and an unspoken connection that left her breathless. The night ended with them sitting side by side, shoulders touching, hands occasionally brushing. Lindayo felt a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Safety, desire, love, and the thrilling pull of the unknown. She realized something she hadn't dared to admit before. She was falling for a man who was dangerous, mysterious, and impossible to ignore. And she didn't care, because for the first time she felt alive. The first drizzle of rain coated the streets of Seoul, reflecting neon lights like scattered jewels. Lindayo hurried along the sidewalk, her heels clicking softly against the wet pavement, heart racing with anticipation. Jinwa's message had been simple. "Meet me, downtown. Don't be late." Her pulse quickened. There was a thrill in the unknown, in being swept into his world without knowing exactly what awaited her. She hadn't felt this alive in years. When she arrived, he was already there, leaning casually against a sleek black motorcycle, rain glistening off his dark hair and tattoos. He wore a fitted leather jacket, exuding danger and confidence, and his dark eyes locked onto hers immediately. "You're late," he teased, though the smirk on his lips softened the edge of his words. "I wasn't late," she protested, though her voice shook slightly. "The rain slowed me down." "Good," he murmured, pushing off the bike and approaching her. "I like it when you hurry. It shows energy, life, fire." Her stomach twisted. Fire, energy, life. Every word from him felt like a spark setting her nerves ablaze. He offered her a hand, and she hesitated for a moment before taking it. The touch was electric. His hand warm, steady, commanding, yet careful enough that it made her heart race instead of retreat. "Trust me," he said softly, and she felt compelled to do just that, even though she didn't fully understand why. He led her through the rain-soaked streets to a quiet alleyway, where the soft hum of the city was replaced by shadows and the distant sound of water trickling. "Where are we going?" she whispered, voice tight with excitement and unease. "You'll see," he replied, eyes glinting with a mix of mischief and danger. The alley opened onto a small, secluded courtyard. Candles flickered along the edges, creating a warm, golden glow against the cold night. A faint scent of jasmine hung in the air. Lindao's breath caught. "This is beautiful," she whispered, glancing at him. He smiled faintly. "I wanted to show you that not everything in my world is shadows and danger. Some things, some moments, are meant to be savored." Her chest tightened. The contrast between the danger she glimpsed in him before and this tender moment made her heart flutter uncontrollably. They sat on a low stone bench, the candles casting soft, dancing light across their faces. He poured 2 glasses of wine from a small bottle he had hidden nearby, offering her one. "To new experiences," he said softly, raising his glass. "To trust," she replied, echoing their rooftop conversation, heart fluttering. They clinked glasses lightly, and the warmth of the wine spread through her body. Every sip, every glance, every tiny gesture from him felt like an electric charge. He leaned closer, fingers brushing hers, eyes dark and intense. "Do you know why I wanted to bring you here tonight?" "Why?" she asked, her pulse racing. "To show you that even in my world, which is often dark and dangerous, there are moments that are ours. Moments where nothing can touch us except what we allow." Her breath caught, the honesty in his voice, the intensity in his gaze, the warmth of his hand against hers. It made her feel both safe and exhilarated. I like it here," she admitted softly. "With you." He smiled faintly, brushing a thumb along her knuckles. "I like having you here. Always." The rain began to fall more steadily, a soft patter against the courtyard stones. Lindao shivered slightly, and Jinwoo immediately draped his jacket over her shoulders. "You're always cold," he murmured, his hand lingering on her shoulder. "You shouldn't be. Not when I'm here." Her heart thumped painfully. I feel safe with you," she whispered, "even when I know your world is dangerous." He took a step closer, his eyes darkening. "That's because we choose the moments of safety. And right now you're safe. With me." Her breath hitched. She could feel the electricity in the space between them, the pull of desire, trust, and curiosity all wrapped together. Suddenly, a noise from the nearby street broke the moment. A sharp, metallic click, like a gun being cocked. Lindao froze. Her eyes widened. Jinwoo's expression shifted instantly, sharp and dangerous. He moved with fluid precision, blocking her behind him, eyes scanning the shadows. "Stay calm," he murmured. "I've got this." A figure emerged from the shadows, a rival from his past. Someone Lindao had only glimpsed in stories he had hinted at. Jinwoo's presence was commanding, quiet, lethal, and undeniable. The man froze. Jinwoo stepped closer, the subtle menace in his posture sending a clear message. He would protect her at all costs. The rival left without incident, but Lindao's pulse didn't slow. She felt fear, yes, but also a thrill, a realization that the man she was falling for was capable of controlling worlds. And yet, he chose to protect her. He turned to her, voice soft now, stripping away the dangerous edge. "See? Nothing touches you while I'm here. Nothing." Her heart raced. I trust you," she whispered, though her voice trembled slightly. He smiled, brushing her cheek tenderly. "Good, because I'll always protect you, Lindao, no matter what." The rain had soaked through her hair, but she didn't care. Jinwoo held her close, wrapping his arms around her like a shield. She pressed herself against him, savoring the warmth, the strength, the safety he provided. "You're incredible," he murmured, voice low, brushing his lips against her temple. "I don't usually let anyone in this close, but you're different." You make me want to be better, to protect more, to care more. Her chest tightened. I feel the same, but sometimes I worry. I worry I'll get hurt. That your world is too dangerous for me. He kissed the top of her head gently. You're stronger than you know, and I'll never let anything happen to you. Hours passed like minutes. The rain slowed, leaving a soft mist over the courtyard. Lindai realized she hadn't noticed the cold anymore. She had been too wrapped up in him, in the warmth of his presence, the depth of his gaze, and the safety he radiated. He pulled her closer, resting his forehead against hers. Do you know what I see when I look at you? What? She whispered, breathless. Everything I've ever wanted, he murmured, and nothing I ever thought I deserved. And somehow, here you are, with me. Her heart thudded painfully. She had never heard anyone speak to her like that before, not with such honesty, vulnerability, and desire. The night ended with a lingering embrace, the city lights shimmering below them, the rain-soaked streets whispering secrets only they could share. Lindio felt alive, cherished, desired, and dangerously drawn to a man whose world she didn't fully understand, yet couldn't resist. And as they parted that night, she realized something terrifying and thrilling. She was falling deeper and faster than she had ever imagined. For the first time in her life, she didn't want to run from love, from danger, or from him. She wanted all of it.
Hello besties, their stolen moments are sweeter than she ever imagined. But Juno's world isn't without shadows. Every touch, every kiss, every secret brings them closer and closer to danger. Can Lindio's heart survive what's coming next? Don't miss episode 3. Besties, will you ever text the wrong number and get the man of your dreams? Thank you so much for watching. Can you like, subscribe and share?